Watch ye therefore, for ye know not when the master of the house cometh.
Mark 13:35.
123.
On your feet. Face the wall. Turn around, face the wall.
Light 'em up!
Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Happy Friday. It's another Friday with Lori and Pappy. Welcome to Living Hopeful. I hope you can join us and share this out with whoever might be needing to see something like this tonight. This is a recovery chat show. It's for families, friends of anybody that is struggling with substance use disorder. It's also here for anybody that's in recovery, anybody that's struggling with substance use disorder. We're here to talk, to help you through some tough times, give you some strength and some hope. We're here every Friday night from 9 to 10:30. Some nights we do have guests. Tonight it is just Pappy and I. We are talking about tonight boundaries. We had gotten a request from a listener, so I hope that anybody that is on tonight can get some information, something that they may need to hear. Pappy will be sitting next to me tonight.
Oh!
And I just ask that we do not discuss politics and we do not discuss religion. Two heated subjects that we just don't want to get into. We have a special guest behind us, our little Jackson. She is our granddaughter. And
Jack, say hello.
say hello.
Hello.
So she's going to be sitting in with us tonight till Mommy gets home.
Until
And,
Mommy gets home.
Just want to say, hey, welcome. Do we have the other screen over here? As soon as I see the other screen, we'll get going. If you're on, just say, hey. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to give us a call in at 267-737-8031. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, we are here. We are listening, and we will give you whatever information we have come across in our journey with our loved ones' use. So, yep, lines are open. We're here. Just want to get into boundaries because that is something that is very important for the family to learn and for the family to understand exactly what a boundary is. That's something that is very difficult to really put into the process of the journey. Boundaries are probably the hardest thing for a loved one to have to set for their loved one's recovery. It could mean life or death for the loved one as well. We continue to feed them, clothe them, give them money. It just has a tendency to keep them in their recovery, into their use, into their addiction, and doesn't let them see the consequences that are coming from their actions. So it's very important that you learn what boundaries need to be set to help them. I know that my big thing that I've learned in my journey with all of this is nothing changes if nothing changes. If we continue to keep doing the same things over and over for our loved one, they're just going to keep doing the same things over and over and not find their path to recovery. If we keep allowing them to, keep using, that's just a step closer for them to possibly end up with the worst part of addiction, which is death. And I know the show is more about hopefulness, but we always have to remember that we need to prepare ourselves for the worst because we don't know what the outcome may be. So always be hopeful, always reach out to your support. Support's the most important thing. Dealing with a loved one that is in their addiction. Support may mean stepping back and letting them feel their consequences that are the most important thing for them. If we keep putting Band-Aids on all of those consequences, whether it's, breaking the law, getting them a lawyer,
Breaking the law.
Things like that. We don't let them feel those consequences, so they don't know how to get themselves out of it. We don't let them feel either. We try and keep everything very, easy for them because we don't want to see them struggle. But, we do that with our loved ones that are not suffering from addiction. We do that with, everybody in our lives. We don't want to see anybody suffering, but not allowing them that suffering could mean a longer run out there while they're in their throes of addiction. So that's where the boundaries come in. And we have a caller. We have a caller. Hello, caller.
Yeah, hi, Lori, Pappy, and little one. It's Debbie D.
Hi, Debbie D. How are you doing?
Okay, how are you?
Good. Now, I happen to know Deborah from a group that I'm in, and she has volunteered to call in. I was talking to her earlier. So, Debbie, we're talking about boundaries tonight. Were there boundaries that you set for your loved one?
Well, not really.
No.
I kind of gave him everything he wanted, which I needed to set boundaries with them, but I didn't. I felt sorry. He had this problem with the heroin abuse, and I just kind of gave in to everything.
Right.
My family got upset. My husband got upset. It was tough, because it was like always him. And I wasn't paying attention to anybody else but him.
Right.
That's what got a lot of trouble.
That's what we do. And who we're talking about
That little Gregory, my son.
your son. I don't want to put it out there. I want you to let us say.
It's okay. Everybody knows him,
Right.
I'm just going to call everybody tonight Larry. A nice generic name.
I'll be Larry tonight, but I'm not wearing the shirt.
He's out there.
I'm wearing the pink shirt, okay? The Victoria pink shirt I'm wearing tonight, okay?
There you go.
He's going to be upset about that. So tell him, hey.
So, your son is in recovery, correct?
Yeah, correct. He's at the More Life down in Metuchen.
And he's there because you did set boundaries, correct?
Yeah, because back in November, he was taking Xanax, and that makes him crazy and very nasty. I don't know why. It's supposed to make you calm, but not him. I guess with all the other drugs he was doing, that's what happened. And so then he decided to cut off his sister and with an axe, and then said, I'm going to chop up his father. And I'm like, oh no, we can't have this. So I called the police, and he's out of the house. We got a restraining order on him, and that's how it has to be.
Right.
I'm going to have to protect my family.
Right.
So the police fight, and he kills us. you know?
Right. Right. And that is a boundary, and that's a hard boundary to put in place, calling the police on your child. That is a very scary thing to do, because first of all, you're setting a boundary and you're making him feel a consequence.
Right.
And the consequence may follow him for a bit. He's young, so it's important for parents to understand that when they're young, they have time to fix those wrongs and to turn those consequences into better circumstances. So I think that's a very strong boundary, and you were able to adhere to it, which is the best thing you can do, is set a boundary that you don't go back on, because once you go back on that boundary, they have a tendency to walk over every boundary from there on out. So it's good that you set that boundary and stuck to it, and it just pushed him towards finding that recovery, whether it was on his own or whether it was forced. You never know what will bring them to the point of finding that recovery. So,
And it was very courageous of you to do that. I mean, so many families and parents, they just let it go on and on and on because, oh, geez, I don't want him to go on his record. I don't want it to go down. It's going to ruin his life. Blah, blah, blah. But at the same token, he's ruining your life. He's really still ruining his own life by doing these things. And so many families are just, they feel like their hands are tied. They can't do anything, and they just live in fear. And there's no reason for it. You shouldn't have to.
right.
So, you did nothing wrong. You did the right thing.
Yeah. And plus, I'm a nurse too, and I want to save everybody, but you can't.
Right.
You have to want the help.
Exactly. And that's hard with this disease, because they have to want it.
Right.
And some people are forced into it through law, through the courts. Some people, are forced into it. They get out and they go right back to, what they got into. So you're one of the lucky ones that your son went forward to getting the help, and hopefully with time under his belt, he'll be able to follow a program and be able to live a better life without substances in that.
Yeah, because he wants to be a bug, and I'm a registered nurse. My husband, I used to drive trucks. He works for Penske. So, we have a good family here. And
Right.
So sometimes I feel like it was my fault because I spoiled him too much, but Happy said it's not my fault,
No.
Without consequences, he would never have moved forward. Things would just remain the same.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And it's tough, but I had to, with going to the meetings with Living Grand and Living Hopeful has really helped me become better, to be stronger.
Yes. And we have to find that support. That's the support is the most important thing with the families, as well as our loved ones. If they are working a 12-step program, or even on MAT, they still need some sort of program to learn the steps, to learn how to cope without a substance in their system. They have to be rewired, and it's a hard journey to start. So I think that was awesome that you did that, and he was able to do that. Now, moving forward, what would your boundaries be? Would you be bringing him home, or would you be suggesting that he move into recovery house? Or
Yeah, recovery house. Now he can't come back here. That's definitely no, because he won't follow the protocol, follow our routines, what we want.
Right.
So that's no, because this is like the third time we've done this, you know.
Right.
Took him back. When he was 17, he went to, what was it called again? In Marlboro. It was called, can't remember the name of the place. In Marlboro, it was in New Hope. It was called New Hope.
Uh-huh.
He was hanging out with all the gangbangers and everything and talking all this garbage. And then we went to visit him, and then we saw him for like 5 minutes, and he was talking all this stupid stuff. And
Right.
I left. I was like, I'm done. You know, I'm not going to deal with this, you know?
Right.
Like, it's true. And then after that, he went to, where was he, down the shore in Neptune? He went to a house down the shore in Neptune and hooked up with some good people. And then,
Right.
then he fought after 6 months, so they kicked him out. And then no, I think it was 6 months. I don't remember how long it was. But then he went, and they got an apartment, and he was working for a food place. I forget the name of it. Like driving a truck to, you know, delivering food in New York City and everything.
Right.
And his friend Vinny was living with him. And then Vinny decided to drink again and like smash up his truck. And then we felt sorry and we took him home, which was
Right.
the wrong thing. Yeah.
Well, you know, and at the time it wasn't the wrong thing. You know, that this is our learning journey as well as those. So we need to remember that anything that we do is not wrong. It's just we don't know any better at the time.
You're doing what's come natural to you,
Right.
which is to protect your child and support them, which we all do. Well, when it comes to addiction, we just gotta arrange our approach a little differently in things. You know, like as I said before, it's easy for us to love our children to death if we're not careful.
Yeah.
And because we're just doing what comes natural to us, what comes natural to any parent. I mean, so you didn't do nothing wrong, you just didn't know what else you could do. And that's why groups like this help you, and they give you the support that you need. Not only does the addict need support, but the loved ones of the addict need support to make sure they know what they're doing, because you don't know at first.
Right.
You just don't know, you're lost. You're like your wits end at time. You just don't know what avenue to take, and you're not sure if you're taking the right avenue. So when you're in a group like this, of supportive people that are more in the same situation as yourself, you feel more comfortable in your own skin, what you're doing. I mean, because it's such chaos in the beginning. I mean, and that's why we're here.
Yes. And in the beginning of my journey, I saw that I needed to be out there and to help in any way I can. And I was helping those that were on the street and that were addicted and actively using. So when I saw all the help that was there for them, learning what I have in the short period of time that I did, I found it more important that we focus on the families and give the families hope and help them through their journey. It wasn't until my loved one found his recovery that I got more involved with the family end of it. So this is our program and its support, just as it is for our addicts. It's the We program. You have to have that support and work together and reach out when you're feeling just so bad that, you know, you want to do some of the worst things that you've ever thought in your life.
Thank you, Christina.
You know, you also want to make sure that you reach out for your sanity. Just like they should be reaching out for theirs. They have sponsors. They have phone numbers that they get in their meetings, and that's why the meetings are so important. I know a lot of people do not like the meetings because of the war stories that they do hear, and that's fine. but there's so many other avenues that they can find that support. They don't need to necessarily get that support from that one particular meeting. If that doesn't fit you and you don't feel comfortable with that one, then move on and find another one that does fit you. That's the most important. And
that's really important to both the addict and to the parent and such. I mean, find a meeting that you're comfortable in. I mean, there's so many meetings out there, and the first one you may not feel comfortable, like Lori said. And that goes both ways for the parents or family and the addict themselves. I mean, they got to find a meeting that they're comfortable in also. And that's really important.
I went to one and I just didn't feel comfortable at all. Like they had their little group. I felt like such an outsider, and they didn't make me feel welcome.
We know exactly how you felt. We were in the same situation.
Yeah, and I just never went back because that's when my husband was in recovery, and I just never went back until now, and that's been 7 years.
Right.
So, yeah, so it's been a long time, and it's just been like driving me crazy, and and it's too much,
Right.
Well, we're glad to have you back, and you notice that the meeting that we all go through together. It's a very comfortable atmosphere.
Yes.
I mean, it's not all doom and gloom. We can have fun. There's no rule against it that you can't have fun while you're sitting there supporting each other, and I think that's very important, and that's a good barrier breaker there for people. It breaks the ice, and people feel a lot more comfortable to open up.
And hearing what they've done and what they've not that they've done it wrong, but what they've done and what it didn't work for them, and hearing the stories of what did work for them was so helpful to me, because that's when you have to start looking at what you're doing and what you can do differently to help guide your strength and worry about you by also helping with your loved help with your loved one by
Boy, I hope they didn't hear that over the air.
by stepping back and letting them feel those consequences. That's so important. I know it's really hard. I know when I first started going to the meetings, listening to people say, throw your kid out, throw your spouse out, throw your friend out. That's what you hear in these meetings. And you're just like, I'm not here to sit here and listen to you people tell me to throw my loved one out the door. Like, that's not what I'm going to do, especially if you're a parent. Like, I'm not throwing them out. And till you start going to the meetings and you see that keeping them at home sometimes can continue their use and their getting them even deeper into their addictions. So it's so important. Yeah, it's just so important that you find the right fit and you find the boundaries that are needed to keep your loved one moving towards recovery versus keeping them comfortable at home and doing for them and not letting them spread their wings and find their path and find their way through it.
Because when my husband came back from Livingren, we were married, quite a while, and like 17 years, right? Yeah. So then when he came back, we had to learn each other again.
Right.
Because it was all this like commotion, fighting, like it was just really rough. Like like beating each other up. It was like really rough. And then when he went away, I had like a break, and it was nice to have a break, I was like, this is calm. I went to work, everything was good.
Yeah.
I had kids, it was nice and calm.
Got some sleep.
Yeah, it's nice when they are in there and you can sleep. And
it was pretty rough, but I was like, I was on like a vacation, not really, because I had the kids and everything.
Right.
Well, 12-hour shift.
Right.
So but it worked out. It ended up working out. They would, he would call me all the time, and then the counselors would call me, and I went to meetings and everything. And so we had to learn each other again.
Yeah.
Because he was always like drunk, so didn't even care about anything. And then we became straight. You know, we had the cops at the house so many times. You know.
Oh yeah, I mean, an addict's life is nothing but chaos, and they just drag everybody into that chaos, and they like that chaos. They really do. And then when you start changing your approach and how you handle things, it takes the dynamic out of the addiction, for lack of a better term. They like that chaotic whirlwind going on around them there, but you know exactly where you're coming from, and
Yeah.
It's crazy because a lot of people that are in a relationship meet each other when they're using. They may both be using. The one person may be using but isn't affected like the other one. And you're in this relationship, and the one that has the addictive brain, it just gets so out of control, and the chaos is just so much that the one without the addictive brain is like, I'm done, I gave up. It's either treatment or we're done. And then, they go to treatment.
I said, it's either me or your alcohol. So whatever you want to do. He wanted
Right.
to live with him. It helped them. It helped them a great deal. He was like the weeder. He
Right.
was like, he walked, feed this little deer outside and everything, you know?
Yeah.
So it was nice. It was a good thing for him.
it's good things for all of you. I mean, it opened up a whole new life, a new
Right.
world for you. I mean, it's
And still, it's a different feel when it's your spouse versus your child. I think there's a whole different feel because you've carried that child for 9 months inside you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you have fed, nurtured, kept safe, that whole, next level. And now you saw what it took to have a relationship with your husband in sobriety.
Yeah.
And now you have to do everything that you can to save your child, and have forgotten everything that you learned with your husband.
Right, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because I'm so focused on my son that the whole family's getting upset with me. They're
Right.
just like, I'm going to leave.
Right.
But, I don't do that way. It's not fair to me. I'm trying,
Right.
Yeah.
And on the spouse level, you also have, they're helping you with the mortgage, the utilities, the car payments, the insurances. They're helping with that. Where your child, their financial responsibilities are their financial responsibilities. So there's a different take there as well. When the parents step in and start helping out with that financial responsibility, they lose that power of overcoming what they have dealt with in their addiction, where the spouse has to come out of recovery and get back to work, get back to catching up on the bills that may have fallen behind while they were in recovery, and getting you back to that place where you were before recovery. So there's so many different levels. And what boundaries are we setting for our loved ones that are helping us pay the mortgage and the utilities and all? The boundaries are so much different than setting the boundaries for your child. So,
it's tough to do alone. It's tough to do it all on your own without a support system behind you. I mean, it's a shame. So many people are just ashamed or afraid to reach out, and the whole situation just keeps perpetuating on and on and on. Like I said, and until somebody makes that move, and then everybody could start getting better.
Yeah, I felt that too. Then my secretary at work said, well, you know a lot about addiction and everything. I'm like, that's right. That's all I said.
Yep. Hey, Bob. Hey, Betty Ann.
Yes, hello
Yes.
to everyone out there.
Hey,
We're not
Sandy,
ignoring everybody.
Christina, Kate, Larry.
The whole gang.
Hope everybody's having a good Friday. And how about anybody that's watching in the comments? Can you let us know about some of your boundaries that
Yeah, feel
you
free to
have
chime
set?
in on the conversation in the comments. I mean, don't be shy.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all in this for each other.
Yeah. And Deborah, I thank you for calling in. And
Really, I mean, it was great meeting your husband the other week.
yes.
And
And
I was calling for an interview here.
yes.
We'd love to have you guys on. Really, we would love to have you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're very welcome to come on to me too, so I'll call you.
Okay. And yeah, give me a call, and I'd love to have you on with us, and talk about your journey and where you're at today.
All right, I'm looking for a job too, for recovery.
There you go. There you go. Hear that, Bob?
There you go, and she's a nurse.
Yes. So thanks for calling in. I really enjoyed talking with you.
All right, you too.
Really, feel free to call it anyway, as often as you wish. Really.
Okay, all right. You take care, guys.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right.
All right. Take care.
All right, you too. Bye.
Hey, Eddie. How are you?
Yeah, and if
Trace.
anyone else wants to call in, anybody got a question or something they feel they could offer the show, please call in. Feel free, callers.
Yes. Share your journey with boundaries that you set for your loved one.
As we come to you from our underground bunker from Forsaken Studios, deep beneath the earth here in a secret hideaway.
So, and our special little listener tonight with us, she's hiding behind Pop Pop.
Hello.
But yeah, boundaries are very difficult to set for our loved ones.
They're easy to set, they're just hard to enforce.
But they are very easy.
I mean, like you always say, don't make any boundaries that you're not prepared to stick to yourself or be able to live with.
Right. You definitely have to set boundaries that are realistic. Boundaries that can be set in the beginning should be very small little ones, so that you can build yourself up to set up that strict one. Just take baby steps with it all, but always and make sure that when you're setting them up, you're also allowing them a little bit of a leeway to give their spin on it as well. Because if you're giving them a little bit of power in there to set a boundary, set it so there's some wiggle room for them to say, well, can I stay out till 11 and not 10? So it feels like they have some sense of
Some say in the matter. I mean,
power with that. You're not just saying, you do this, you need to do this, you need to help this, you need to help that.
Thank you, Sam.
That's so important that, you make them feel as worthy as they should feel. It's so important for that. And Christine, yes, her sister had to set boundaries of that tough love until I started to live right. And she stood by it. And in the end, it was what was best for their relationship.
We prefer disconnect with love. It's so less hurtful.
Yes, and that is. There's a whole new language going on.
We took a whole day class, as I said, on how to talk less hurtful.
Yes, and
I'm a new person now. Did you notice any difference in me, honey?
no.
I'm much more bubbly.
Yes, he's a bullshitter.
That's my sister-in-law. Am I more bubbly, Sandy?
But you have to start out baby steps with all of this because you're learning, they're learning. You can't just go in it and like you. try when you're talking to them, and I've learned this. I did take a class in this, and I have a certification in it. I just can't do the program like they have it set up because I want to follow through to the end. So, learning to talk to them with open-ended sentences.
That's always a good one.
Yeah. Open-ended sentences are so important because you're not getting the yes, no.
Less confrontational.
Maybe. Yeah. And don't be aggressive, and don't do the you.
Use Dana's line.
Which one is that? There's many.
Say what you mean. Mean what you say.
Just don't say it mean. Yes. And the other one is walking away from the conversation. If it's heated and they're high, there's no point. Walk away. And bubbly bullshit. Yes, Larry. Just walk away from it. Come back to the conversation and, address what they had said to you so that they can hear what they said and think about what they actually said. And that can make for a much better conversation. They may even listen to what you're saying and say, really? Is that what I said? I sound like an ass. But they may also say, screw you. So just approach it as gently as you can, because that's so important. To keep the conversation open and keep it going. So we have about an hour to go, folks. So please feel free to call in with any questions, concerns, or just discussing the boundaries that you set so that our viewers can hear. They may be in the throes of it right now, and they may need to hear. This is what I did. This is what worked for me. May not work for the next person, but it will work for somebody at some point. I know that when I started this journey and I started with the meetings, my first meeting was a beginner's Al-Anon, which didn't really resonate with me because the issue was narcotics. So the AA thing, the alcoholic thing just wasn't hitting me. So, and the presentation of it didn't either. My next step was through the family parent meeting at Livingren. And the first 4 weeks of that, it was not sitting well with me, but I just, for some reason, just kept going back. And he would say, why are you going back? You hate it. You don't like what they're telling you. They're not helping you. And it's like, I don't know why I'm going back, but I feel like I need to. And I know my first meeting I went to, my sister and my aunt both came with me because I was very new to this and I didn't know what to do. So going into the meeting, at least I had somebody. I could not say my name. I could not talk about it. I was just that upset. And hearing about the boundaries that people were setting was not setting well with me. And hearing what they said, but not hearing what they meant was a big thing. So if you are attempting to go to these meetings, really listen, because what they may be saying may not be what you're hearing. That's, I don't know. Did you feel that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of phrases and a lot of and a lot of things that you're not accustomed to. I mean, like Lori's first thought, they told me to throw my kid out on the street. No, they weren't saying that.
Right.
But that's the way you may perceive it at first. I mean, because you're hearing it the way you want to hear it, and you're not really hearing what they're offering to you.
Right.
So go in with an open mind, and don't form an opinion immediately. Just let it flow, and there's a reason certain things are said and things go a certain way. I mean, so go into it with an open mind, and the key to this is education. Until you can educate yourself in the throes of addiction and all, none of this is going to make sense to you. It really isn't. That was my hardest part, because it just didn't make sense to me. We did everything right, so we thought. I mean, there was no fighting or anything in this house, but yet it still happened. Like why? What did we do wrong? You ask yourself. I mean, did you not love them enough? Did you love them too much? Were you too lenient with things? I mean, you just beat yourself up. You really do. And that's the same for parenting. It's the same for a spouse. Like, well, why did my spouse get like this? I mean, was I that horrible of a person? Did I force them into this? I mean, you ask yourself a million questions. So, like we always say, when you go into a meeting, give it a couple chances. I mean, the first time, the second time, things started. By the third time, I'd be, you know what, they're onto something here.
Yeah. And it was my fifth meeting that I went in, and I was able to say my name, who I was there for, what I was there for. And when I said I need to find what will fix my loved one, and they said, that's not what this is about. This is about fixing you while they're trying to fix themselves when they're ready. And I'm like, what?
Nothing wrong with me.
Like, what do you mean?
People are crazy. It's a cult. It's a cult.
You're nuts. And hearing all of those damn slogans that I was like, you can shove them right up your ass, because what is that going to do for me?
Yeah, the slogans at first, they get a little honky-dory, you might think of. But they really do make sense, and they help you relate and catch yourself in certain situations and all. And that slogan comes to mind, like, yeah, I'm good with this. I'm cool now.
Yeah. And the Serenity Prayer, I'll tell you, that's why it's up here on the page, because I think that is a strong, helpful tool for a loved one who's going through the throes of their loved one's use. It also is for the person that is actively using or in recovery. It's a very strong prayer. And I know the meetings start with it or end with it, or what have you. But a friend told me they used to say it all the time. They used to say, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, my loved one. Courage to change the things I can, myself, and the wisdom to know the difference. And they would say that every time they would think of their loved one, just so that they knew that there was nothing they can do until their loved one was ready. And that can be a long time. Some of our loved ones are out there for a long time. Some of them, just try it and find that recovery before it gets too deep. So, yes, Betty Ann, I think every mother blames herself. I think every mother, even after they learn that it may not have a lot to do with themselves, we all play a part in it. That we all play a part somewhere in there, but it is not our fault.
There goes that slogan now coming on my mind. The 3 C's.
Yes.
Everything's a slogan to me now.
Yes, and
you didn't cause it, you can't control it, and you can't cure it.
No, but you do not
have to condone it. And the 4th C, you must not condone it. That's the 4th C we got.
Right. Well, it's you don't have to condone it.
No.
They're going to do what they're going to do until they're ready to get the help that they need. So, but you don't have to condone it. So that's where you set your boundary. Here is our home. This is how we're going to live in our home, substance free. Or you can live with the lifestyle you've chosen, and that's your addiction. So whether you are couch surfing, they call it, and normally that's the first step, is them going to friends' house, the people that they use with, until, they've used them up. And then the next step is, living on the street or living in abandoned buildings in the cities where...
That's just the way of turning the conversation around on them. It's like,
Right.
we're not throwing you out. You just chose not to live by the rules and the boundaries set in this household. So
Yeah.
that was your decision. We're not throwing you out. You just chose to not live by the rules. So now you have to leave.
Right.
I mean, it's a whole better way to approach things. It'd be less confrontational.
Yes.
Takes the fight out of them.
Yes.
I mean, because arguing is you're not going to make no headway.
No, you're really not. And arguing is just going to put you up against the wall. Everybody's going to get angry and frustrated. Frustration is the worst part of this. And what is frustration? It's fear.
Sure it
You
is.
know?
And a lot of times our frustration is construed as anger
Right.
because we don't know where else to turn.
Right.
And
Our
it
hands
appears
are
we're
tied.
getting angry, but we're so damn frustrated. We're at wit's end.
Yes. It's so frustrating.
And as I always said, and I repeat myself a lot on the weekend, a certain thing, but always remember that your addict's going to make decisions that make no sense to you, and they'll make that same decision over and over and over and over again. And what's that the definition of? They say, well, you do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. That's the definition of insanity. So they're going to make decisions that don't make sense to us because they're not thinking with a healthy brain. We are, so it just seems senseless to us. It boggles our mind why they do what they do. Always keep that in mind.
Yeah. And I know.
I like that angle. I don't look as fat. It's just a bulky knit shirt I bought here. I'm really not this large in person, but
and
I look very distinguished.
and it is kind of weird that when you come on the show, you do hear the same thing over and over again sometimes.
And
but-
you'll hear us repeat a lot of things. You want to remember we always got new people tuning
Yes.
in too. So we like to get those bits of wisdom out there.
Right.
Tell
It's
people,
it's
Chris.
important, but I mean, it's the same thing. It's we have to get people to understand where things are going. Today's getting hard. It's getting really rough out there with this isolation. And Christine said earlier, this is the best time for recovery, because if you're not feeling comfortable in these meetings, there's Zoom meetings, there's this, there's other meetings just like this. There's other organizations that do these things. So it's important that you jump on now. A very great opportunity for us right now is jumping in an AA meeting, an NA meeting, a CA meeting that's open, so that you can hear what our loved ones may be going through. I think it's so important for us we're never going to know what they're feeling. We're never going to know what they're going through. But to find that understanding of what they may be feeling and may be going through.
Hearing it, what other people have gone through.
Right.
Something there might resonate with you as to what your loved one is experiencing.
Because
And that's very helpful.
yeah, because really your loved one's like, oh, this is this and that, and it's just like, why? That's not how it was. That's because you're in denial. You're in denial. You don't want to hear that, this may have been what caused this. This may have had some, even if it's the tiniest of things. Everybody has a different lifestyle. Everybody has a different mind. You don't sometimes feel that you see things that are really there in the open, but you don't really see it because they know how to hide it from you. I find that most important. And when I go to different meetings or events or town hall meetings and hear speakers that are in recovery, whether it's short term, whether it's long term, and you hear them say that, I was the captain of the football team. I was the valedictorian of the graduation.
Yeah, you hear that a lot, more than most people would realize.
Exactly. I make six figures.
Because people think folks like that got it all. They got the world by the, they don't have a worry in the world. And a lot of times people like that are so superficial and so wound up in themselves, and so insecure, you would never know they were insecure.
Right.
And they're the people that are so stressed out that end up possibly turning to an alternative to feel comfortable in their own skin, because even though they look like they got everything going on, they're not happy and they're not comfortable in their own skin. There's something out of balance in their life. And then a lot of people, they turn to drugs and alcohol, and it makes them feel more normal, for lack of a better term.
And especially sports.
Like they fit in more.
Yeah, especially sports.
Well, I was never much into sports, but I am an athletic supporter.
Yes, you are.
I just want to put that out there.
But even sports, here's a person that's the quarterback of the football team. And he's the funny man in the school. And he's the most popular. And his grades are excelling. And his family makes six figures. They live in the best neighborhood. Yet he does not feel comfortable in his skin at all. And he doesn't know why, because he's got everything. He's got the best car. He's picking up all the girls or guys, whatever. He's all together. He's got it all, in the bag. And not knowing that deep down inside that he doesn't feel that way. He just feels lost, alone. And but he gets injured. A simple injury. Goes to the doctor. Here you go. Take this pill. Well, that opens up that receptor. That opens up a whole new ball game for this person. I'm grateful today to see that they're only giving a certain amount out. They're not giving the 60 days. Oh, you're still in pain. Here's another 60 days. But once that hits that receptor and opens that up, he's feeling what he wants to be feeling. He's feeling what he needs to be feeling. And he's comfortable in his skin. And he's still succeeding. He's still, he's still living at home with the six-figure family and the best community. And he's still the quarterback of the football team, but his grades are slacking. His grades are going down. He's now, I can't play. I just don't feel good. I don't feel like playing. Then he's not even showing up for the games.
And remember, a lot of people in their addiction, especially early, it goes unnoticed because they're just coasting along, taking enough of whatever their drug of choice is, whether it be alcohol or any kind of narcotics, opiates, benzodiazepines, and whatever they're taking. But if they're just taking enough and cruising along, you might not even notice they're on something.
Right.
When people, especially when they're really strong in their throes of addiction, you don't even know they're high unless they didn't take enough of their drug of choice, or if they took too much, which is overdose, which means you took more than your body can assimilate. But if they're just taking just enough, they're just cruising along under the radar. You don't even know what's going on. Mm-hmm. Not until you underdose or overdose that you notice there's an issue.
Right. And it's not long after that they're no longer in control of even being able to do that anymore. Because they just, especially with opiates is a gradual. Opiates, you take this and it stays here, and then you have to take a little bit more because it's no longer, giving you that feel of comfort anymore. So
Euphoria.
you had to take more until your body has just taken so much that your body's feeling better, but the opiate slows everything down. And that's when you start getting into the overdoses and stuff, because you're feeling sick because you don't have enough in you. And that's usually when it turns to heroin or fentanyl. That it's just the buildup of an opiate in your body.
And always remember with opiates, a lot of people don't realize, opiates don't stop the pain. They just stop how your brain perceives the pain.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
A lot of these people with these injuries and stuff, work-related injuries and stuff, with the Percocets and all,
Here we go with
you
the
start
hair.
taking more and more and more because you think it's for the pain, but the pain is actually your withdrawal from the drug itself if it comes.
Right.
And, it just spirals out of control very quickly.
And I will say I myself experienced it firsthand, because when I first was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, they put me on some heavy opiates, and I'm like not being able to move or do anything, and I still feel the pain, but I don't care because my brain is numb. I don't care, but I'm not living a life. So I was just done, stop it. And I went through instant withdrawal, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know anything about withdrawal or addiction. I know of it, but I didn't know. Like, my doctor gave me this stuff, so when I talked to my pharmacist, she's like, how are you feeling? I'm like, I feel horrible. I feel like crap. It's July. I have the flu. I'm sick as a dog. And she said, did they change your medicine? And I said, no, I just stopped taking it. And she goes, you can't just stop that. And I said, oh. So she put me back on it and weaned me down. I didn't want it. I couldn't stand taking it. It made me ill. And that's the difference between an addictive brain and a brain that was just taking it for the pain. They have a different euphoria over an opiate, where it made me sick, but I was in so much pain that I didn't care. Just give me whatever. You go to the doctor and they give you a pill and make you better. But without that education, you don't realize that the doctors aren't necessarily, there. Here you go. Here's a pill. Take it. They don't know what you're doing with that pill. They don't know if they're not following you. Is it working? Is it, oh, well, here's another one. So I'm so grateful today to see that the regulations on the medication is getting stricter.
Oh, yeah. But they didn't really, I don't know how they couldn't realize, but they didn't realize the dangers of opiates more than anything. Wow.
Right.
Opiates are so easily become addicted to. I mean, especially like heroin. I remember the professor talking at one time, giving statistics. I like statistics. He said it was believed, that the first time you take heroin, a person, you stand a 50% chance of developing a dependency on that drug from just one use. What other drugs like that? And he says, and should you decide to try it a second time, that goes up to a 70% chance of developing a dependency on that drug and addiction. There's no other drug like that. Opiates are, wow, they're a dangerous, slippery slope, man. If they're not monitored and they're not taken as directed. I mean, it's just not something to take haphazardly, you know what I mean? That's why you don't see many casual heroin users. I don't think I've ever seen one. But it's just not something, it's not a party drug. It's not something that you can just turn on and off and do on and off. I mean, and a lot of people don't realize that opiates are heroin. The precursors are all the same there. They all derive from opium, from the poppy plant. And it's just the difference is one's made in a controlled environment, the other one in a haphazard type environment. Like Most people are really shocked to find out that the opiates they take are the same as heroin. Like there's other people on the streets that are taking that heroin stuff. You're not much different. Taking them, crushing them OxyContins because they're working a little better for you that way. Like stuff like that. I mean, people are really shocked to find out about opiates, and the whole world's been awoken to them. But probably the last 6 years of the dangers of them. I know people have been on OxyContin for 20-something years. Never meant to be on it that long. As I said before, OxyContin was derived for end-of-life patients in hospice. It was made for after radical surgeries to give the body a few days to get over the hump to start healing. I said battlefield injuries, right? Battlefield injuries. But I have to be on for 25 years for pain. Oh, we got a caller.
We have a caller.
Hold on. Dun, 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 dun. Hello,
caller.
Oh, mystery caller. Three guesses?
Mystery.
Oh my God, the first two don't get.
Our mystery caller. Let me guess.
I'm gonna turn the volume.
I think it starts with an L.
Yes.
How are you, my friend?
How are you, Larry?
Okay. I just got a couple questions.
Sure.
A friend of mine, my sponsor wants to know now. To get on this program, all you have to do is go on Facebook and put Living Hopeful. Is that correct?
Yes, he goes in and he looks up Living Hopeful, and then he looks for the live feed, and then taps on that.
You don't have to join or anything. You just look right up.
No, this is the public page.
Yep.
Okay. Now, my second thing is, if you can't get anybody next week and you need somebody to speak up, and I talked to my cousin and also. I'm free next week if you can't get anybody.
Excellent.
That's great. Whenever you can pop in, Larry, we always can make arrangements.
We would love to have you.
Make room for you. We know your situation.
Yeah, well, that's your call for next week,
yes,
not mine.
Please do.
It's open. Okay, and just one more favor. Text me your address again, because I'm going to make a little test ride tomorrow from here to your house, just to see how long it takes. I think it's going to take about a half hour, but I just want to make sure, because if I'm speaking next week...
We'll do that and let us know you're coming. We'll come on in. We'll show you the studio and stuff while you're here.
Well, because I'm going to leave like at 8 and maybe get there at 8:30, so, the time to set up and...
Well, yeah, our makeup person will have to,
Makeup person, yeah, all right. Yeah. Yeah.
I
don't get a lot of mud, or maybe a lot of concrete. Yeah.
We have our makeup person that takes that shine off of you. Bob is hell with that head, I'll tell you.
Yeah, they really had to work on Bob.
And Bob was in the comments earlier, so maybe he can do canasta with Uncle next week while you're here.
Yeah. Good luck with that. Yeah. Good luck with that. So,
yes.
So I'll talk to you Tuesday at the meeting, and make up your mind, because I know you had a caller before. The person you were talking to, you invited her to come over, her and her husband to come over. So if you'd rather have them, that's fine.
She's still trying to convince him, I think.
She's still convincing him. So we will set you in stone for next week. Next Friday, you will be here, and I'll be happy to have you. I know that coming up we will be having a returning couple, I think is set for the 23rd, and they'll be talking about relationships after recovery. So you're good for next week.
All right, beautiful.
And then I had that Elvis impersonator coming in July.
Yes.
So yeah, you're good, Larry.
All right, good. Just text me the address so making my little test ride tomorrow.
I certainly will.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to get back to the show in case somebody else wants to call in.
Okay, sounds good, Larry. Thank you.
Okay, see you.
See ya. That is
what a
Larry.
nice man. What a nice man.
He's a nice gentleman. He
so plausible, he's just so genuine.
Yes, he is. He's our Larry. He's our rock and roll Larry. That's for sure. But anyway, I have, I'm going to do a reading, and because we're talking boundaries.
Trista's here. Hello, Trista.
Hey, Trista. Hey, girl. I'm sure you just had to kill yourself coming out of the pool to watch us, right? Trista's my girl. She is from the After Dark family that follows us here, a show that I used to follow for a long time that no longer is airing. So hence why I started this. So
I gotta see you, man.
I'm going to do a reading out of the Sesh book. This is Sharing Experience, Strength, and Hope. It is a Naranon reading book, and it's a daily reader. So since we're doing boundaries, I'm going to read the chapter on boundaries, and if we have dead air, I will go to, there's a few pages for boundaries, so we'll just do that to keep the dead air from being dead. So I established a healthy boundary last night. My wife and I went to an awards dinner for my work, and we sat next to a coworker and his wife. My coworker is new, so I spoke with him at length about his life before becoming an agent with our company. I told him what it took for me to be successful and tried to give him some insight on what was in store for him. During the conversation, he asked me about my children. I thought, uh-oh, here goes. I can talk at length about my oldest daughter, but what do I say about my addicted daughter? I told him about my oldest daughter and her 12-year-old son, while all the while I was thinking about what I should say about my addicted daughter. When I finished talking about my oldest daughter, I simply said that my youngest daughter is not doing much of anything. My coworker and his wife simply nodded their heads, and we moved on to another topic. Phew, I thought to myself, I do not have to explain to them about the horror we have gone through this past year. I do not have to listen to their sorrow, their show of concern. I do not have to explain. I do not have to compare in my mind their children to my addicted daughter. I do not have to have her in the forefront of my thoughts for the remainder of the night. I do not have to fight off the tension that surely would have followed. No, I do not have to do any of that. I felt relieved. One of the women at my Naranon meeting said that she enjoyed or looked forward to our meetings, as each of us knows what the others are going through. She can share her feelings at the meetings and know that it is a safe place. She cannot do that with others in her life. The thought for today, I realize that I do not have to tell everyone I meet about my problems. Even though they are real, I have the choice of not telling them to others or dwelling on them and ruining my day. I can share my concerns in my meeting with those that understand. We need to know how far we'll go and how far we'll allow others to go with us. Once we understand this, we can go anywhere. That is from Melody Beattie from Beyond Codependency. And with that being said, Trista, you're a bad, bad girl. I told you not to. But with that being said, there is, especially in the beginning, it's hard when somebody asks about your loved one and they're not open about their recovery. And people ask about them. And it's like, what do I say? How do I share while they're talking about their child who is, the valedictorian and the engineer or what have you? I myself have learned that I think the hardest thing that anybody can go through in life is recovery. I think that is, there's no prouder moment than watching somebody go through the throes of addiction and be able to climb out of that and rebuild their life. I think there's nothing stronger than that. And I don't care if your kid, went to the moon, your loved one came out of the throes of addiction and is killing it with building a new life. So, I think it's nice that we have these outlets that we can discuss when we're pissed off about our loved one, when we're happy about our loved one, when we're proud of our loved one. It's so opening because you don't want to have to take over your entire life. But today, probably because everything I wear has Livingren on it, everybody tends to bring up, oh, do you work there? Do you have a loved one? Did you go there? Amazing how many people you find that are living in recovery. We are always talking about all of those that are addicted and living on the streets or, are still fighting. Nobody talks about the millions that are living a life beyond their wildest
I
dreams.
forget the number. John said that number the other week.
It was, and it's a big ass number.
I know how many people are living in recovery in the United States alone.
Oh my gosh, this hair. But it's just so amazing to see how many people, have come from the dungeons of hell and are living a life most beyond their...
You already know a few people in recovery. You just don't know you know them yet.
Right, exactly. Recovery does rock, Trista. It's amazing. I do a lot of things in the recovery world. They don't sit around and just go to meetings and drink coffee and smoke cigarettes or vape now. They do things.
Or go jogging.
Or go bowling. There's more to it. We just was to a kickball game the other day against...
They're having more fun and doing more things than our friends not in recovery do. They're more active.
Yeah, our friends that are not in recovery are usually hungover by Sunday, sometimes Saturday.
Playing kickball, they're sitting home watching television. Eating donuts.
Yeah. I mean, Livingren.
I love donuts.
I was going to say, you go out to the functions that they have. Pappy actually DJs for Livingren. They have the alumni dances. That's awesome. Yes, there are bowling leagues. There's softball leagues. There's so much going on in...
But it's just so much fun.
It is.
Going on. It's like that sober people, that people that aren't, they don't even realize it goes on. They wouldn't even fathom that. How could you have fun?
Right.
You're just going there dancing. No booze.
What do you mean?
Not
You're
a drop,
dancing,
man, and everybody's having a blast.
Dancing without a drink. What do you mean?
Yeah,
it's crazy because you learn to live within yourself. You learn so much about yourself in recovery, and
you learn to enjoy life on its own terms without having to use a substance to help you enjoy it.
Yes.
For lack of a better phrase.
Yes, we have 15 minutes, guys. Anybody want to call in? As Fred says, I didn't know what life was until I got into recovery.
That's the truth, Fred. Like we sit there like a bump on a log and just doing the same things over and over and not experiencing anything, not really having any fun.
Right.
Just feeling crappy all the time, being sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah, especially if you are addicted, because they always say one's not in...
Not enough.
One's...
Too many.
Yeah.
Larry would know that one. Larry, what's that phrase?
What is that phrase, Larry? One isn't enough and 50 are too many, something like that. Fred, you could probably answer that too. Trista.
What's that phrase?
I forget what it is, but it's true. Like, when you are in recovery and you're in long-term recovery and you think,
One's too many and 20's not enough. It's
right. But to say, oh, I've been doing this for 15 years, I've got this. You know what? I'm going to celebrate my 15. I'm just going to have a drink. That's all. I'm just going to have a drink. And that drink goes down real good. And check this out. I got that drink and I'm fine. I'm going home. I'm going to bed. Well, next weekend, guess what? That one drink is now 15 drinks, and you're right back to where you were.
Pretty much it, Fred. I think you got it.
Yeah. One's too many and thousands not enough. Yep. I knew it was something like that. So, this is a lifelong illness. This isn't something that is cured. This is something that is maintained.
And it's controlled.
Controlled by reaching out. And, a lot of people, Ozzy says one's too much and 10 is not enough.
Ozzy doesn't lie.
No, he does not. But all I know is it starts with a second, and then we build minutes, hours, weeks, months, and years. Yes, you do, Trista. And you live it one day at a time. That's the most important. And we do too as a family. We just have to take the day as it comes. Grateful to see my loved one in recovery, doing an amazing job, creating an amazing family. It's beautiful. It is beautiful to see. And just reaching out. Just keep reaching out. And if you are struggling, we're here. If you need to cry, scream, vent, whatever, we're here. We're listening. And if I didn't go through it, I'll point you in the direction from somebody who has and help you get through it that way. I'm always listening. I'm always here, and I'm always available. So please reach out. And again, we have 14 minutes left. Anybody can call in, share something. Yes, Trista, that is so true. The alternative is not good. Not at all. It just, you break out in handcuffs, they say. So just keep doing what you're doing. Keep reaching out. And Trista's an awesome person to reach out to. PM her if you are struggling. You know somebody that is. I'm always available.
And if you're hungry, she likes to pick up the tab.
Yeah. I won't give them your address, though. And not to bust your stones at all, Trista, but guess where we're going tomorrow? No, it's not Rita's. Yes. You break out in handcuffs or death. That is right. So keep reaching out, people. Keep getting the help that you need through your support. It's not Rita's. We're going to the other one, the one that's even better that you didn't go to, up by the Garden of Reflections, actually.
This water ice place makes Rita's taste like tap water.
Yes, it does. It's awesome. Yes, everybody that is a mother, have a very happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, to all you moms out there, thank you, Betty Ann.
And God bless all those mothers out there that have lost someone. Stop doing that. You're on my mind all the time. I can't even imagine the pain of somebody. Hey, James, how are you? Love you, bud. Just keep reaching out. We're here. We're listening. And if you have somebody that's suffering and needs to get into treatment and they're calling out and they're reaching out, give me a call. I will reach out to my resources and help you in any way that I can. If you are a parent, a spouse, a friend that just needs to talk and find avenues of support, or even need just to find meetings that you can go to, reach out. We're here and we can point you into that. We have a caller.
We have a caller. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I was great until you said where you were going. That's not nice.
We're not going to Rita's. We're
Well, you
going.
might as well be. It's the same thing.
Well, no, it's not. It's better.
But, when y'all go neater, didn't your mama teach you that wasn't nice?
We have a friend on the line. I won't tell you who it is unless she tells us her name.
He or she.
Hi, my name is Tristan. I'm a recovering addict.
There we go.
That is our girl Trista. She had come here a year ago, and we did a recovery
Probably more than a year ago, but
fundraiser. We did a fundraiser, and she came all the way from Idaho to Pennsylvania to join us in that that fundraiser. And here is our other bundle of joy
bring him over.
and Mama.
He needs some camera time.
Yes, here is the family.
The baby.
But Trista came. Oh, and Jackson. But Trista came out. Trista came out and joined us, and we took her to the Rita's Experience, and she fell in love.
We introduced her to water ice and cheesesteaks.
And cheesesteaks. Yes. So,
Look, let me tell y'all. What you did was you took a little short fat girl, okay, vertically horizontally challenged, short and round, because the skinny girl couldn't hold on my personality. Then you teased me with cheesesteak and water ice.
that's right.
And now I've learned. I thought I had, look, addiction is no joke. But when you are addicted to something you cannot get your hands on because it's on the other side of the United States, that is wrong.
That's when you move.
I did.
Love you guys. They're going to get tucked in. They're getting tucked in.
Good night, Captain.
Yep, they're gone. But yeah, that's when. But you have it real close. It's not that far from you.
No, ma'am, it's not. I'm about to go find it. I'm gonna go find it soon.
You're screwed for a cheesesteak because you can only get that in PA. So
Glad to have you on board, James.
Hey, look,
We're
not
going to
that far
James.
from- We're not that far apart.
no, no.
Look, don't make me drive to you because I will, and you know it.
Yes, you'll never get a cheesesteak like you can get here in Pennsylvania. Sorry, it just ain't gonna happen. You ain't gonna get one in New York.
My granny says we got them here too. Ha ha ha! In Florida.
What? A cheesesteak? No, they don't. No, they don't. Nobody in this world has a cheesesteak like they have in Pennsylvania. It's all about the roll, babe.
Yes,
All
it
about
is.
the
Yes,
roll,
it is.
about the-
I'm rounding my roll real well.
Oh, and now the
Oh,
dogs.
now the dogs are here. We got the whole
Yes.
family's here now. It's a family affair.
It was a family night.
Holy smokes.
There's your
Come
dog.
barreling in.
There's your dog.
See, this is a
Trista.
family show, people. We like to show you our whole
Dogs
family.
and all.
I gotta say that I might not pop in every Friday because I'm still getting used to the time change.
I'm telling you,
But-
yes, it's a struggle.
Yes, it is. What you doing, Granny?
But you're not ever going to be in a better place.
You're very right.
Yes.
This little chocolate company has been the best thing I think in the world that I've done besides having my children.
There you go. There
Take it
you
easy.
go.
Oh my goodness.
That is the best.
Yeah, I'll tell you, kicking the person's butt has been amazing, and it was real easy.
What was that?
I said kicking the person's butt was real easy when I put my mind to it and I switched everything up.
Yep. There you go. Go lay down. Yes.
That sparkle, looking for that sparkle we have,
Yep.
man, it's awesome.
Yep. I'm so glad. I love the smile on your face. I love to see you building a better life. That is awesome.
Just get a milk in 1 minute. Just get the body. Yes, Granny. Thank you.
We like the way you rock back and forth in anticipation in the car when we're driving to Rita's.
Yes.
I like watching you get out of the back seat there, Pappy.
Yes.
Like a paraplegic.
But I am so grateful to know you and to have met you. And of course, we hang out on FaceTime. So
Absolutely.
Jackson is learning how to use the portal. So be warned, everybody. She's pointing, if she knows your picture, she's pointing to you and calling you.
I'm honored and blessed to be a part of y'all's family.
I'm so grateful to have met you and have you here. And you're my sister, girl.
Absolutely. I'd like to come to another fundraiser.
Yes, you might be doing one of my fundraisers. Who knows?
Let's do it.
Okay, you got that.
Let's do it.
You got
All right.
that. As soon as they open up the world, we'll be able to do it.
Deal.
Yes.
And I'll be there as long as it's not snowing.
No, it will not be in the snow.
All right.
Absolutely not. Girl, you take it easy. You
Great.
Absolutely.
Thanks for calling in and tuning in.
Yes, you have
You're
a great
always
night.
welcome.
I love you, girl.
I love you guys too. Have a good night. Everybody stay sober. If you need us, reach out.
Yes.
Thanks. Just another part of our recovery family out there, people. It's
Happy
ever
Mother's
growing,
Day, honey.
Ever growing.
Happy Mother's Day. Yes.
Feel free to share my story if you need to, or any part of it anytime.
Yes, I will. I have it on my page, so anybody can read it. So
I love you, and I gotta get back to work here with Granny.
love you.
See you, sweetie.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, be safe.
That was Trista. She's my girl.
And hello to our nephew out there who keeps saying hi. Don't
Yes.
think we're ignoring you, James.
James,
Good
we're
to hear
there.
from you.
And his mama,
Poke
Sandy.
your head and say hi to your cousin.
I'm glad that you guys
I was
popped in
talking to our
tonight.
engineer.
Yes, our engineer. He's awesome.
Choo Choo Charlie.
I came a long way from the kitchen table.
Yes.
So that's awesome. He's doing an awesome job. Thanks, son. You're awesome. And then my dogs are panting, so I can barely hear anything. So.
You got the headphones on. I can only imagine what it sounded like.
So
Twiddle-dee
it's
and twiddle-dum.
getting to be that time. I just want to say happy Friday. I hope everybody has a great Friday great week coming. And if you're struggling at all, please reach out. Call me. My number is 267-737-8031. Please hit up Trista if you are struggling with your sobriety.
Well, don't get in trouble and work. Or
No.
us.
No. So, keep reaching out. That's what we're here for. It's a we program, and we are here to listen. So, everybody have a great week. And hello, I'm working currently, but wanted to make sure I'm here
stands
to
for that.
support. Thank you, James. You're awesome. Good luck with everything. Happy Mother's
Don't
Day,
be a
Larry.
stranger. Happy Mother's Day to you too, Larry.
Everybody have a great week and reach out. We will see you next Friday here, 9 p.m. to 10:30. Our guest will be Mr. Larry, and I'm sure he'll be wearing an awesome shirt.
Mr. The Garzone will
Yeah.
be a much anticipated guest.
Yes. So everybody have a great week.
Remember, recovery works if you work it.
it. Peace out, all.
Watch ye therefore, for ye know not when the master of the house cometh.
Mark 13:35.
123.
On your feet. Face the wall. Turn around, face the wall.
Their feathers are just too bright.